Welcome, Preethi. Welcome everyone to this episode of eLearning interviews. Today's guest, Preethi Ravisankar, is a freelance e-learning developer who enjoys creating interactive online courses. Preethi holds an electronics engineering degree and was a software engineer. A graphic design gig led her to e-learning development. She is an articulate storyline expert who also works on Rise, Captivate, Photoshop, Illustrator, and Camtasia. Her experiences range across industries like academics, banking, healthcare, and workplace health and safety. Thank you, Preethi, for joining us today.
Thank you, Sushita. Thank you for having me as your guest.
So, Preethi, you're an e-learning developer. How is it different from instructional design?
Okay, see, now in the industry, there are a lot of terms which relates to instructional designing, like people call themselves learning experience designer, e-learning consultant, and all these are used, interchangeably. A proper, corporations, they have set the departments for, instructional designing and e-learning development and LMS administrator and all that. Basically, an instructional designer is someone, who gets, sits with the stakeholders, get all the requirements from them, map the learning objectives, taking the learner's need and all that. And they are the one who prepares the blueprint of what, how they should cater to the learner's needs. E-learning developer one is the one who comes after that, who gives life to the blueprint that the instructional designer has developed. So they are the one who knows you, who gives life to the blueprint that the IDs have developed. So, some people, now they have, a lot of people are able to do everything from end to end. They can develop storyboards, analyze the learner's needs, and because of lot of, easy to use e-learning authoring tools, they are even able to develop the content, and some are able to even do LMS administration. But good for them. But there are a lot of companies who have, separate departments for each step.
So, how do you choose a particular tool for a project? What is the criteria for choosing?
Okay. As such, there are a few criteria, but most of the e-learning, the companies that I work for, they would have set their mind on an e-learning tool that they want me to use. But left to me, I would first think of the learner's needs, their the level of skill or capability or the technological limitations that the learners have, or the level of interactions, like if they are, if we need an interactive simulation, or if it's just going to be a simple slideshow or just a video. For example, not all e-learning requires gamification or augmented reality or virtual reality. Some requires just watching a simple 2 or 3 minutes micro learning nuggets or videos. So the first I would put is the learner's needs and their capabilities, and then it depends upon the instructional strategies that have been that's there in the storyboard or decided by the ID and the stakeholders. For example, if it, like I said, the elements that is going to be included in the course, like the media or video, audio, or there's a simulation kind of thing and all that. And next thing is probably the preferred delivery method, the output, how is it going to, it is going to be in responsive course, or they are going to be viewed in a mobile, or it is just going to be it might even be a small single page job aid or PDF. So it's based on that. And some e-learning courses, they might require advanced, learners tracking things like XAPA and all that. So there are just a list of all these things, which should be taken into account before you choose an e-learning authoring tool.
And you were a software engineer, and then you work with visual design. How did you make the switch from the technical side to the creative side?
Okay, I would still say I'm not totally into creative side. There is some technical involved in this e-learning development also. See, because I worked in the software field, I was, I'm quite good at this JavaScript, understanding this JavaScript, HTML5, and all that. That has helped me a lot in creating this interactive or, custom interactive courses that I work on. And the switch has not, because I was in basically they're creating websites there. in my earlier job, along with coding. So all of this has, somehow helped me design, better e-learning courses, custom or custom creative, custom interactive courses now. I wouldn't say that is totally different from what I do now. That technology is somewhat related to what I currently do. So that has actually helped me a lot. Left to it, most of the e-learning developers, when they get without any technical background, they get scared of this JavaScript and advanced triggers, variables, and all that. Because all those terms are quite familiar to me, I was able to handle it much better. So that has actually, my previous career has actually helped me a lot. I wouldn't say it is totally different from what I do now.
That's the beauty of this e-learning and instructional design, I think, because people come from very different fields, and from whatever field you come, there will be something that will match with instructional design, and you can use that as your strength.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, because a lot of us, we have even told this before. A lot of people have told this before. Most of us did not choose instructional designing by plan. Most of it somehow landed in instructional designing. So it's a mixture of all. That's really good.
So for an ID, how important is it to learn the tools, the different tools that you are using as an e-learning developer?
Okay. Tools like Articulate, Rise, they're all much easier to use. It's almost like an PowerPoint or so. It's definitely an advantage if you are able to do both instructional designing and e-learning development. Because when a client comes to you, and if you are able to offer end-to-end the solution, then they would be much happier, and you will definitely get more projects. But in larger corporations or in some companies where I see separate department or field for instructional designing, development, and graphic designing, and LMS admin, it definitely gives much reliable, much good product. The end product will be much more polished, and you will see the difference when one person is maybe a very few of us will be a jack of trades in all departments, but people will have limited skill sets, right? You cannot do everything. Some people are able to do it, but not all of us are fall into that category. So either way, if it is just going to be a simple project that you don't require much simulations or graphic assets or designing, and if you are able to handle basic e-learning authoring tools, then Evolve, Adapt, small, little, just not very difficult to use tools, then it definitely gives you an advantage over other instructional designers who are not able to do anything.
So when I'm making a storyboard or anything, that I usually think that, is this possible? So if I have that a little bit of familiarity, I need not do everything on my own. But if I have a little bit of familiarity with the tool, I will know, okay, this is possible. Otherwise, I may think of some fancy things, and then in the end, if it's not possible, it's a waste of time and effort.
Yes, that's true. That will make e-learning developers' life easier. If you're at least aware of what is possible and not possible.
Right.
So even though if you're not expert in all the tools, it's good to know what is in the market, what is possible, what are the development tools that the client is finally going to use. If you have at least a general idea of what, then it will be good for you and good for the company also.
So what is your tips to become better at visual design?
Okay, visual design separately is a separate field of study. There are a lot of elements involved in it, like fonts, color, the color palette, that the branding guidelines, and even the white space. Every small thing contributes on the visual hierarchy. So every small thing contributes to the final the visual design, which is much easier to which is easier for the learners. So that way, I'll tell you how I learned visual design. How I got tips. You should initial days you can use templates, the ready to use templates that is there, that that will give you, when you are very new to the field, that then working on the templates will give you an idea of all the boundaries or the the rules that they normally follow. And slowly you can take part in, there are a lot of forums and community for visual design, UL design and all that. When you go in and see the conversations there and the people's work there, then you'll get an idea of what is there to learn about visual design. So I don't have specific tips about the articles or people to follow, but in general there are lots of people who dwell into visual design. There are a lot of e-learning developers. Even if you see their examples and all that, you will initially you can try to mimic them, and slowly you will find your way.
Yeah. So how did you get started? Like when you were beginner, how did you get started into these ELS challenges or?
Yeah, I would say this e-learning challenges that comes every week in Articulate Heroes, that was the starting point. So that is one of the best ways to learn the tool. So if there are a lot of content, or you don't even have to choose any difficult topics. Just a simple topic like how to make a tea or coffee and all that. You can just you can use the simple topic, and then you can start learning how to put it in interactive format in the tools. So for that will be very helpful for creating your portfolio, which is a very, very essential thing for you if you are starting out as a freelancer and you're getting into the market. I think e-learning challenges, and not only Articulate Storyline, you can just implement, try to implement one small thing. You can pick up the same topic. For example, how to make tea, and then you can do it in Storyline, Captivate, or different authoring tools, so that you can show to clients that you're capable of working on all these tools.
Yeah, so for me personally, writing comes easy. So if I have to edit or write a piece from scratch, that I can do that easily. But when it comes to the graphic design part of it, I struggle. So would you have any tips for making things look good?
Look good. Even when I started out, I think I just tried to see the other people's submissions in the e-learning challenges. I'll try to just exactly copy what they are doing it. So to learn how they are doing it.
Yeah.
And then when you start learning how, then you will slowly move towards how to make it look even better. And then that's how I slowly picked it up, looking at other people's, the experts' work and all that.
Yeah.
When you start, and then experience, when you work for clients and particularly for clients who are very, very particular about and half millimeter space to the right and to the left, those people are blessings. So they'll teach a lot about visual design and all that. Graphic design, I would say, you don't have to be an expert in all Adobe Creative Suite or all that. But slowly, when you are working for you're developing an e-learning thing, and you want a small icon which is already available in CPIC, and you just want to do a small modification, and if you can do a lot of things in PowerPoint also, design in PowerPoint also. So if you're able to do a little thing in Photoshop or Illustrator, then it's an added advantage. You will save a lot of time. Otherwise, for making even a small change, you'll have to put in a lot of time and effort. So even I learned this Photoshop, Illustrator, and After Effects not for the purpose of creating sketches or big illustrations and all that. I started it out mainly because I wanted for the graphical assets that I use for e-learning modules. So for that, that purpose, a lot of assets are available in CPIC or Shutterstock. When you want to just change the color that matches the branding guidelines and all that, if you're able to work in Illustrator, then it's much, much faster that way. So only when you start working on the courses, you will find the need to learn these Photoshop and Illustrator and the other tools and all, Affinity and all that.
Yeah. That's a great tip to copy exactly what somebody is doing and then slowly add your own touches.
Yeah, initially when you should learn what is possible, how is it possible, and then you can slowly start putting your own ideas in and then making it even better.
Yeah. So you mentioned about freelancing and getting clients. There are many people who ask about getting started. So how do you get those first few projects? How do you become a freelancer initially?
Yeah, that's a big question, and okay, I'll tell you how I started. I'm not sure if it is the best way. See, when I took a break after my software engineering career. Took a short break, and then I tried to learn a couple of 3D animation software and all that. Without any set goal in mind, I just did not want to waste my time, and I was just learning the software. And the faculty who taught me the software, he said he has a friend who's doing a project on mechanical engineering, and he wanted to design the machines and all that. So that is the first stint for me with e-learning, online course development. That is when I knew there is something called Storyboard, there's instructional designing, and there is a full field beyond that. And after that, slowly that was for a very short period. I would say 4 or 5 months. I did not do anything other than designing the machines needed for the entire e-learning course. And then I think I slowly started approaching e-learning companies. They'll have proper e-learning developer, instructional designers, and all that. But when they have any outflow of work, a lot of work, and they don't want to hire full-time employees, they'll outsource work. It will be just for a very short term, but that's how when I contacted e-learning companies on my own. I used to just cold call them, and I had only a couple of work samples with me, and I showed them, if you have any outflow of work, and if you're not able to handle, I'll be able to jump in and help and all that. And slowly, some e-learning companies, they started giving me projects on a regular basis. And from there, I slowly moved towards Upwork and all that. Upwork is, there are a lot of competition in Upwork. It's very difficult to get your first project there. Because you don't have your first project, if you don't have the proper ratings, it's difficult to get clients. So it's like a loop, it goes on and on. So for the, you cannot even, even if you quote the lowest rate, it will not work. It doesn't bring you good clients also. So you'll have to build portfolio for that mainly. So if you are going to start freelancing, then preparing your portfolio is the first main thing. There is no alternative for that. So you cannot, write. If you are good in writing, then you can write emails and show your writing prowess and prove yourself. But for e-learning, then you'll have to have work samples. There are a lot of trial versions. Particularly for e-learning, you have 60 days. Captivate, you have 30 days. So minimum, they'll have each e-learning tool, they'll have 30 days trial version. You can pick up a small topic, just one sample will do. If you have to prove yourself, that you can work on these e-learning authoring tools, you can show these samples, and slowly you will start getting work. Networking, some people are very good at networking, LinkedIn, and they are very social and outgoing. For those people, yes, good enough. They can create blogs and posts and write about what they. Even for that, you'll have to do something on e-learning tools. You have to create a basic thing on the tool. So that is what I think. Portfolio is one main thing if you are going to start freelancing. And then you can slowly, LinkedIn, and when you work for one client, then referrals, and all that. I think first step would be to directly contact e-learning companies and ask them to give you work for outflow of work. And from there, you can get into the directly establish relationship with clients or organization, and you can develop solutions for them. I would say if you want me to put into points, first point would be to create a portfolio. Second would be to approach e-learning companies and ask them for get registered yourself as a contractor, and then slowly move to clients directly.
So when you make these cold calls, how do you find out about them? Is it through the website contact section, or is it via LinkedIn? How do you find the person to contact?
Mostly via LinkedIn. A lot of e-learning companies are there, and some of them post their requirement also. So even though I don't apply for a full-time job, I can tell them that send my portfolio and tell them that you keep me in mind when you have any help, you need any helping hand. So I can send them mails. They used to give, their HR people who post on LinkedIn about their requirement. You can just get in touch with them and see. Now maybe I'm not able to do it. Maybe I'm not able to take a full-time job, but in the future, if you need any help in developing and any extra work and all that, you can refer to me. I'm not sure if it is the correct way, but yeah, it worked for me in the initial days at least.
Yeah, whatever works.
After a few years, when you get to know a lot of people in the same field, there are a lot of Slack communities also, right?
Yeah.
There people, post jobs there, post the requirement there. There may be other freelancer who need help in completing their modules and all that. Slowly you will build a network and there will be steady flow of work.
Yeah. So what is the most crucial thing to succeed as an e-learning developer?
Crucial thing, you'll have to understand about instructional design. Basically, even though you don't do storyboard and stuff, just like how an instructional designer should know basic things about other e-learning authoring tools, a developer should know a basic about instructional design theories and all that. How what you develop is going to address the learner's needs. You should have a general idea about that, before you start developing the tools. So yes, you'll have to know about little bits of theories and learning different other tools which helps you create an e-learning modules like videos or audio, editing audio and video stuff and all that. If you're able to do a lot of that, then it'll be easier for you. Otherwise, you will have to outsource work to another graphic designer, and it gets really messy. So if other than the e-learning authoring tools, if you are able to do a few of the other graphic design tools, then it will definitely help you. And other than that, you will have to keep following what because it has got a lot to do with visual design, right? So you will have to learn about the basic things about visual design also. Just by following people, there are a lot of tutorials or posts or community available, right? So you'll have to get into it and see initially. You don't have to go and post or something. If you just watch the discussions, then you'll be able to get a lot of points and stuff.
During this COVID time, the e-learning industry has witnessed a boom. So where do you think the e-learning industry is headed?
Yeah, like you said, during this COVID time, there was a lot of demand for online courses. Everybody wanted to convert their face-to-face training and to convert. Even before that, as soon as we started moving towards remote working and all that. Even before COVID time, I would say there was a lot of demand for this instructional designing field. But after COVID, there is even more demand. And there are a lot of opportunities, and it's getting more and more complex right now. Not just e-learning, click and reveal, or this interaction hotspot simulations. More than that, now virtual reality, augmented reality, there are a lot of things, gamification and all that. So the people now who have just started, I think they should also keep that that future of e-learning in mind. They'll have to learn about a lot about all these tools at least.
Yeah. So, what is your message or advice to aspirational learning developers, new e-learning developers, and experienced e-learning developers?
Okay, aspirational and the one that they're just getting into e-learning development. I would say, as I said, prepare a portfolio. Portfolio is the main thing. You'll have to learn about not just learning and how to create a slide in Storylearn or Captivate. It's not going to help you. You'll have to learn the before and after the entire e-learning process. You'll have to have an idea about what the e-learning field is about. So only then you can provide quality work. Otherwise, it's just going to be information dumps, right? Just whatever it is written. You cannot have fancy images and illustrations and say you're an expert in e-learning developer. Whatever every small element on the slide, it should cater to the learner's need. It should be matched to what going to teach the learner. So for that, at least you'll have to learn about instructional designing theories and have to understand, grasp the topic. And then, yeah, for development, you should need the technicals. You should learn all tools and the other graphic designing tools and all. And beyond that, you'll have to learn all the theories also to be able to give a useful product for the learner. Experienced freelancer, I don't think I am very much qualified to go and give advice to other e-learning developers, just for following other articles or, communities or getting involved. And there are a lot of people, if they have any small problems, for example, in Adobe Captivate, if they're not able to bring out a desired output, and they post it in the forum. If you are able to, answer to that question, it will not only be helpful for them, but for us also. So you can learn from, the challenges from others. That is one way you can improve your capability. Just by helping others, you can you can learn more from that.
Yeah. So whether it is theories or any tools, how important are certifications?
Certifications, I don't think most companies look for certifications. They're not even worried about what you have studied before and all that. That is education, or I've seen only very few companies who stress on getting an certification. For example, international, UK and US, probably they would require a degree in instructional design. But within India, I don't think there are much courses which are available for us. So, to be able to show them that you are capable and you'll be able to take up the work, then portfolio is much better than taking up courses. But I'm not sure how helpful that would be. So certifications, you have to. There are a lot of YouTube tutorials or Udemy courses where you can learn the how-to of the tools. You can learn a lot of tools via that. I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but the companies that I've worked with or the clients that I've worked with, they have never asked me for any certification. They only take a look, at my work or previous referrals, and all of those have helped me get more work. So I think that is my opinion.
We have some audience questions. Do you have any particular preference of a Storyboard tool, Word or PowerPoint, and authoring tools, whether Storyline or Captivate?
Okay, it all depends. Storyboard. Some clients, they have proper understanding of what is an end product, and they'll have, as I said, they'll have a separate department for an ID, and they will prepare do the needs analysis, and they'll have step by step, slide by slide instruction of what they need. They'll have the clarity what they need, looking for the end product. But there are other clients also who will have the entire content. They know what they should teach, but they'll not have slide by slide instruction, or they're not sure about the level of interaction or whatever it is. They leave entirely up to us. So it might be in the form of Word, or it might be in the form of PPT, or it might be in the form of just a rough PDF and all that, or it might be just clipping of short videos. If that is possible. So it's up to us. In the beginning, probably when you're new, you might tend to work on projects which have proper storyboarding. So the visualization, everything is already been protected by or helped by someone, supported by someone, and you are just new to the tool, and you can use that to create an e-learning experience. And after slowly, when you are pretty comfortable with the tool, then you should. I think the format in which you get the content, which should not affect you much, then you should be able to visualize it much better. And authoring tool, I think by far, the companies which approach me, they are much favorable towards Storyline, articulate Storyline. It is the in tool now. As of now, it is very popular among the clients. Adobe Captivate also, so Storyline, I would say, and then Captivate. And there are a lot of other companies also who they have their own content authoring tool. Evolve, Adapt, Typing, Lectora, Camtasia. For different needs. I have developed e-learning courses where the main tool was Beyond, where you create animated videos. So they'll want us to develop just 1 or 2 minutes e-learning nuggets using Beyond. So anything, even a PowerPoint or small PDF can become an e-learning thing, deliverable. So it all depends on the requirement.
Another question again from Ranjit. Is it even possible to develop instructional design without making a detailed storyboard?
If you have a proper storyboard, which means you have a proper plan and before, and you're prone to less surprises at the end. If they just give you the content without any proper planning and you develop the entire course and give that to the client, it might be a totally different thing from what they wanted.
Yeah.
So storyboard, some expect everything to be in the storyboard before you start development word by word. Some will generally have an outline, a rough skeleton of what they're looking for, in each module or subsection. I think if you don't want to prepare everything before storyboard word by word, at least you should have a rough outline, a form of agreement before you start investing time in e-learning development. Because once you put your time and effort and all that e-learning development, and then you take back the course, then you should have a rough blueprint of the product before you are developing it.
Yeah.
I know there are a lot of some of us may be pushed to developing courses without the proper storyboard, but there are a lot of risk involved in it.
Yeah.
I would say planning first is much safe for all of us.
Yeah, it will eliminate unnecessary revisions and rework.
Yes, definitely.
So we have reached the end of the questions from my end and the audience end. So thank you, Preethi, for joining us on a Sunday morning.
No problem. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for your time.
I hope to. I'm looking forward to your other sessions and learning more.
Thank you so much. And it was initially when I had just heard the term instructional design, and I was totally new to this field. It was talking to you that gave me so much of clarity, and today also I have learned a lot from you.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm of some help.
Thank you, and thank you everyone in the audience. You've been asking great insightful questions. Please like, share, and subscribe to encourage the channel, and see you again next Sunday at 11 a.m.
Thank you, Prishita. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye.